A brother is tired.
All right, it says it's recording. Yeah. 1 second. All right. Let me just remind myself what episode this is.
I think it's 38.
Yeah, that's what I thought. All right. Tweet Talk, episode 38.
It's lit. Episode Kwame Brown.
Kwame Brown. Wow.
Yeah.
That's one for the ages. One of busts of the century.
Yep.
Number 1 pick. He was a number 1 pick, right? Straight out of high school.
I guess so. Yeah. Yep.
Big time bust. Speaking of the NBA, sort of. Now they shut down the season. Couldn't believe it when I saw that one.
I don't understand what's going on with that stuff, man. It's a lot of hype. It's a lot of hysteria, and it's not a lot of proof. It's not like your next door neighbor has coronavirus. It's like, it's just people talking, but you don't actually know of anybody. Like, you can't spot somebody in your family with coronavirus, but you might know somebody with diabetes. You might know somebody with maybe even, unfortunately, cancer or breast cancer who might have passed away. But, like, we're over here shutting down the whole world for something nobody really even knows exists. It's kind of interesting to me. Or we can't see the actual physical effects of it.
It's crazy. Well,
Yeah.
let's get into this, man. So today, you said if you don't have money to rehab the home, still buy it. If you don't have all the cash to finish the rehab, still start that rehab.
Yeah, it's a principle that after I remind myself of, because we're in the process of starting a rehab, and the money was there in the beginning when we started with another contractor, and he kind of ran off with some of the money, and he lied and said he was sending the money. He was like, "I put this in the mail. It's in the mail," and I wait a week, and I'm like, "Bro, like, it hasn't come." He was like, "Oh, that's because they didn't sign for it." He's like, "I'm gonna send it back," and I was like, "All right, send it to this address." Nothing comes. But so basically, we had to kind of count it as a loss, and so our budgets are a little bit off of whack. What we brought in to fund the rehab and what we have to do the rehab aren't the same number. And so when we did the Oakman house, we kind of had to do the same thing. It's like we just had to press through, because what happens with rehab budgets is there's what you plan for and there's what there really is. A lot of people on the outside don't understand this. A lot of newbie investors don't understand this. But when you do rehab, it always costs more. It always takes longer, and it's always way more difficult. Newbie investors are like, the rehab estimate said 20 grand, so that means it should be 20 grand. Like, no, it might actually be 28 grand. And that doesn't mean that you're ignorant because it comes in at 28 grand. It means that that's how real estate works. So anyway, basically my point is that, like, I got a good number, and I'm at a point where, like, I recently just paid off a bunch of credit card debt, but the reason why is because I had to put a roof on that credit card, $6,000 on a roof, and probably some other stuff. And I bought a house with that credit card because, and it's funny because the house we were doing the rehab on is the house I bought with that credit card. But the thing is like, you find money. So when we first started doing the rehab, I didn't have a credit card that I could absorb a roof on. And then we're in the middle of doing the work, and then I get a credit card limit increase or something crazy, or a new card comes in. I'm like, all right, cool, I can put this roof on there, and then and the job gets done. But if I sat back and waited, we would have never, ever gotten started. And so my thing is always like getting people to get started, because getting started is the most difficult piece. People don't realize it's the most difficult piece, but it is. Most people procrastinate. They talk themselves out of it. They say what they would do later. My parents are great at doing this. Oh, well, after tax season, I'll do it. Oh, well, after I'm school, I'll do it. Oh, well, after the kids' graduation, I'll do it. I'm like, no, do it now. The reason why I do so much is because I never allow anything to get in the way of me starting. I would rather be working on 8 projects than working on 1 project and procrastinating on 7. And so for me, it's like, I'm just going to stack it. We don't get it done. It might not get done fast, but it's going to be getting worked on. And so that's basically, and also Aisha had posted something about like, that's kind of what she does. She's like, if you can find assets for pennies, gobble them up and then figure out what you're going to do with them later. And so we actually have some inventory. We have a 3-family, we also have a 2-family, we also have a commercial space that were just good deals. And so we bought them knowing that we'll be able to figure out what we're going to do with them later. So it's like, buy assets, figure out the rest later. I have a mentor and he says he never buys a house unless he knows unless he already has the money to rehab it in hand. And I don't necessarily agree with that statement, because a lot of times people are thinking like they have to have an actual rehab budget, not really realizing that like sometimes the cash flow from your rental properties can be that rehab budget. And that's what Aisha does. Like, instead of spending the rental income that she's getting, which is like 30 grand a month, she's using it to renovate her property. And that's what we tell people, that first property is the most difficult, because the first property is all on you. That second property, the third property, now you got some property behind you helping you push it forward. So get started, get that rehab rolling, because like Greg mentioned, it's like once you own the house, it's a different conversation. You own the house and you're going to a lender, you're saying, hey, I own this and I'm looking for financing to get it done, versus I'm thinking about buying this, what can we do? The conversation is just different.
Just get moving and resources will find you.
100%. It's kind of like what I was talking about with just like and I also think that in a lot of instances, when you're moving, you start to key in on what you really have. A lot of people, they overlook the money that they have. I was listening to somebody, and it wasn't even an African-American person. It might have been a Caucasian person. He was saying, he's like, man, we got the money to do this stuff. We're just spending it on everything else. And so like when you have the asset, you tend to kind of key in on what you have. You tend to stop taking things for granted. You tend to stop letting pennies slip through your fingers, and you start putting money in the right spots.
So you said not letting other people tell you who you are or what you are capable of is my superpower. And that goes for everyone, no matter how dope they are or how successful they are. My opinion of myself and belief in me always trumps all outside noise.
Yeah, I feel like it's so key, because a lot of times people who are dope will try to kind of deem themselves the person who can determine if you're dope. And I don't necessarily agree with that statement. I don't care who they are. I don't care if you are bringing in $30,000 a month. I don't care who you are. No matter what, I always feel that I'm the person who determined that I'm dope. And an example is Jay Morrison. So like in the beginning, when I reached out to Jay Morrison, he kind of wasn't like, he didn't really rock with it. He didn't just hop on it. But I had to choose myself. I had to still deem myself worthy to keep pushing everything I was doing forward without a cosign from him. There's people out there who will put somebody on a pedestal, and if that person says like, nah, you're not it, like, then they're like, well, I guess I'm not it. Like, no, like, I'm it because I said I'm it. And people are finicky, man. The same people that are rocking with you will soon not be rocking with you. Same people who aren't rocking with you will soon be fans. And so I feel like it's kind of in a sense the choose yourself mantra. At the end of the day, man, like, I just have so much faith in me that I'm not tripping off of what anybody says about who I am or what I can do. Because you got to realize, like, I've been getting slandered my whole life. I've been getting people saying that I'm this and that, and I'm not this, I'm not that, my whole life. And you have to see through it, and you have to see what you really see for yourself. And I don't know, that's just how I feel, and it's worked out. And it's like Jay-Z said, he said, I've been real all my life. They confuse it with conceit. And I just feel like I'm just real with myself. And I think a lot of it came from when I was being raised. I was always told that I was dope. I was always told that I was great. And so you go into the world and they try to humble you, and they try to tell you that you aren't these things and you can't do these things. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense, because my whole life I've been told that I'm great and I can do whatever I want to do. So there must be something wrong with the world, because what I believe in myself and what y'all are saying, there's a disconnect. So I feel like, especially in the African-American community, we try to kind of diminish people and we try to like disqualify them. And I've even seen this personally. It's like people will get into a disagreement with me, and they'll automatically try to reduce you to nothing, as if you don't have a JD, as if you don't have an MBA, as if you don't have a degree in finance, as if you don't have all these credentials behind you. Like, I'm far from nothing, but we disagree on wholesaling, or we disagree on Bitcoin. All of a sudden, I'm nothing. And then you continue to produce results. You continue to get success, because what they say doesn't matter. What they believe doesn't matter. What they're trying to label you doesn't matter. All that matters is, are you putting points on the board? Are you out there hustling? Are you out there working? Are you out there pushing? Are you out there producing? Are you out there creating? And I'm going to keep doing it, whether they like it or not, whether they can endorse it or not, whether they agree or not, whether they give me a cosign or not. I'm going to still put it out there, because I just don't put anybody above me at all. It doesn't matter who they are.
Hear you. You said blow your goals up, talk bigger, even if they call you a clown.
So in the beginning of the year, I said I wanted to make $250,000 this year, and I didn't even think that was possible. I was just talking, and I looked at like my total for online sales, and I'm like, bro, like, we're in month 3 and I'm damn close. Like, just been pushing it. In actuality, if you include my working income plus the rental income, I might already hit that number. But before I bought my wife's second ring, I wrote down on paper, like, I want to spend $10,000 cash on a ring. And I was like, where am I going to get $10,000 from? I don't know how it's going to happen. And I started trading stocks, started flipping stocks. And then I made 20 grand. And then I just broke them off 10 grand in cash just to get this ring. I never thought it would be possible. My parents, when they bought my mom's ring, I think they might have paid like $5,000 to $7,000 for it. And I was like, I just didn't think it was possible. And there was another thing that I wrote down. I was just writing down all these goals. And what I found is, like, you get what you write down, you get what you say, you get what you meditate on. And so you got to make sure that you're meditating on the right things, and not meditating on ignorant things, and not meditating on like negative things. Because a lot of people, they'll speak limitations over themselves and say, we can't do that. That's not possible. They ain't going to let us do that. And then that's what you get. You get a bunch of not possibles and what people aren't going to let you do. And it's amazing, because this year I did my vision board differently, where I did it kind of the Doug Depp way. I made categories. And then instead of just finding pictures, I wrote down what I wanted. I said, I want to get the vending machine route. Before we got the vending machine route, I said I wanted to get, I think I might have said, I wanted to get all my credit cards below 50%, even though I didn't think that was possible at all. Because like I said, I had a roof on there, I had a house on there, I had a lot of stuff on those credit cards. And now we're in March and I've hit that goal. All my credit cards are below 50%. And that's a big number, Raphael. That's over $15,000. I had like $30,000 in credit card debt, and I paid over $20,000 off in like the last month. All my credit cards, it just magically happens for you. And so I don't know why it is. Like, even like 2 years ago, I said, I want to make $120,000 this year. And I got to 120. I didn't think it was possible, but I got to 120. And so this year it's like 250, and now we get there. So I think that we got to be careful of what we're manifesting and what we're putting out into this world, because so many of us, all we ever talk about is what we can't do, what's not possible, what's too hard, what they ain't going to let us do. And that's what we get. We just continue to get more of that. And then not only that, then you got to also blow up what you want. Talk about what you want. Write down what you want, not what you think you can get. So you got to be out there and you got to say, you know what? I want to crack $1 million this year, and really believe it. And then you'll start to see things start to flow your way. But that's just kind of where I am. I've been realizing that and I've always kind of known this, like when you have that vision board, you tend to get what you put on that vision board, man. So now I'm like, what else can I get? What else can I write down and manifest?
Right. You think you went too small last year? I mean, when you see that you actually hit the stuff you wanted, does it make you think like, man, I should have asked for more?
I don't know. No, I was just happy that I did it, because at that point in time, it was a reach. Like, to just be out of law school and to hit that without passing the bar yet, I thought that was kind of impressive amongst all the other things that I wrote down. But it's just, people take that for granted. If I say something, you aren't going to really, really grasp that I said I write down things that I don't think are possible and they happen for me. They're things that I want to happen. Literally, they're out of touch, or maybe I might think they're out of touch, but they're not out of touch. Then they happen. Like just breaking off 10 grand on a ring cash, not financing, not a loan, not any of that stuff. And actually, it actually cost more than 10 grand. We were able to, yeah. So I want people to really grasp that. Like in 2 months, I knocked down $15,000 in credit card debt. And actually, all those credit cards we paid off this week. I literally have got that number down to 0.
Wow,
So
congrats.
I think it's crazy. Now we're over here like, let's get these student loans out of here. So, and I'm not even worried about that. I definitely know that'll happen. But I think it's really important to grasp that.
Okay. All right, so you got 2 tweets here. You said, when you work for yourself, you can live life at a higher level. And you said, when you realize that business equals sales, you will start making real money.
So, and I don't know which one I want to start with, but I would say business equaling sales. One of the things that I realized is, and it came from working in the firm that I work in now, this guy markets like crazy. He has commercials, he has flyers, he has backpacks, mugs, pins, billboards. He literally has his face everywhere, and he's unashamed about it. He markets his face off, and there's a reason why he's successful. It's because he markets his face off. And a lot of us think that a business is the product or a service. We think having the best product or a service is going to make our business successful. And I realized that is not the case. We spend so much time out there trying to make sure we have the best customer experience and the best product, and we don't spend enough time acquiring the customer in the first place. It's like Grant Cardone says. He says customer service is the wrong product or target. Customer acquisition is the right target. And so I kind of just went crazy. And like I said before, I was like, I would rather somebody think I'm annoying and then want to mute me or even unfollow me than my child not be able to live the life that he wants because his dad played it too small. And so one thing you'll find is that once you start doing it, you're actually going to get more followers. The more you put yourself out there and what you can do, you're going to get more followers. And if you lose followers, you're only going to gain even more followers. In fact, if somebody doesn't support my business and what I'm promoting, I don't even want them following me. I don't even want them in my circle. If you don't want me out there promoting myself and getting money for myself, I don't want you in my circle. So that's one thing. The other, what was that other tweet?
When you work for yourself, you can live life at a higher level.
So I took off a few weeks and I was studying for the bar, and I was in fear the whole time because I was like, how am I going to be able to survive? Where's the money going to come from? And I was just hitting it. I was hustling. I was running sales. I was promoting it. I was putting it out there, and I made a lot of money. So in making a lot of money, I was able to do a lot of things. One of those was paying off all the credit card debt. The other was going to San Diego and literally doing whatever we wanted to do. We want to go to a play, we go to a play. We want to go to this restaurant, we go to a restaurant. We want to stay at this hotel, we stay in this hotel. We want to go to Louis, we go to Louis. Like literally doing whatever I want to do because I didn't have a boss, because I had no limit on my income, meaning that I was able to make unlimited amounts of income. And what I realized is like, I didn't get there when I was working for other people. And I've been working for other people my whole life. But how come the 2 weeks that I take off and I work for myself, now I'm over here living the dream. Now I'm over here living life at a higher level, Ubering, whatever you want to do. And it's because your job is stealing your wealth. And they're making you think that they're doing you a favor. They're taking all your money. They're taking all your time. They're taking all your energy. They're taking all your intellect. They're kicking you a few bucks, and they want you to be happy about it. I know you're going to ask about this tweet, but about the bonus, I realized I was like today I ran some sales on Instagram through other people's platforms, paid them a little bit of money, and I made 2 months worth of income in one day. One day. And it makes you look at the job like, how dare you guys? Like, you're telling me I'm worth this, but I just generated this. That doesn't make any sense. If that's what I was worth, then I would only be able to generate X. And it can kind of be frustrating, but I'm kind of using it as motivation. And the real goal is just to continue to turn it into passive income, because the goal is to take the massive income, turn it into passive income, and then be in position to completely eliminate the job, but do it comfortably, not do it and be scared the whole time. So I just realized, like, I think that's it. When you work for other people, they steal your money. They live at a high level and you live at a low level. And I put it in a tweet earlier, and I was talking about how, like, the reason why the African-American community is in poverty is because we all work for other people. We're getting robbed, and we don't even realize we're getting robbed. And it's just bad out here, especially in California. I know in other parts of the country, they might be getting paid better, but in California, they don't exactly pay people what they're worth, but it costs a crazy amount of money to live here. But I think the real crux is I just realized that in me working for myself those 2 weeks, I was able to make an abundance of money. And making so that all that money, I was able to live at a high level and not live at a level where you're going to Louis Vuitton and you're like putting on a credit card, or you're going to Louis Vuitton and you worked all your saving. Like going to Louis Vuitton, you're just casually like, all right, put that over there, put that over there, put that over there, like that kind of stuff. Or going to the restaurant, like, oh, order that, order that, order that, and oh yeah, add that. Like an actual level of comfort that you'll never get from your job, ever going to get it from your job. And it actually just motivates me to even do even more stuff and to free myself from the job sooner, because I realize the value in me. I realize, like, as soon as I get my time, like that, the weeks that I took off for the bar, I was driving around just looking at projects, looking at like vacant land that I could turn into some stuff, looking at the stuff in downtown that I could turn into stuff instead of going into the office, doing the stupid stuff they want me to do, work on the different projects that are stupid. They're just doing to pass the time so we can settle the case. Like, I could be legit building wealth for my family, but instead I'm over here like just doing discovery or writing a motion that's going to get denied. It's busy work and it's bullshit. And we're just doing it for a paycheck. And it's frustrating because you could be really out there building some legacy out there, but instead we're giving away our wealth for security. We're giving away our wealth so we don't have to worry about being homeless. When as long as you're productive, you'll never be homeless.
Yeah, not only did you generate all that income, but you were studying for the bar at the same time and getting ready for the Black Man Building Wealth Conference, right?
Exactly. Which allowed me to then give away a bunch of money to other businesses. The crazy thing about it is when you start working for yourself, you just help more people. Like when I was off those 2 weeks of work, people were like, oh man, I have questions about this. And I just got them on the phone with them. Like, all right, this is what it means. This is what it means. And then when I'm back working, I get all these people like, oh man, let's talk about this. I'm like, I don't have the time, man. Like normally I could get on the phone, but I can't. So if I don't have a job, all I'm going to do is help more Black folks make money. Like that's my sole business model, is help Black folks make money, help Black people build wealth. So that means if I'm not working for other men, then all I'm doing is helping more Black people make more money. Like, that's crazy. It's kind of like the dream.
Mm.
And that's another reason why we're broke, because we work for other people, because we can't even really fulfill our true purpose. We can't.
So most of our productive time is spent working for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
You said stop saving, start creating.
I don't know. I don't really know the premise of that, but I have a feeling that it had something to do with realizing how much more money you can make when you create stuff and you put it out into the world, as opposed to going to work and then trying to save the little bit of money that they give you. It's a lot easier to create $10,000 than it is to save $10,000. It's a lot easier to create wealth than it is to save wealth. And I was talking to somebody, and we were at lunch, and I was telling him, like, you can make $1,000 two ways. You can work 40 hours at $25 an hour, or you can sell a $100 product 10 times. What do you think is easier to do? To sell the product. It actually takes no effort. In fact, you can do it when you're asleep. In fact, you probably will do it when you're asleep. Or you could just do it by sending a bunch of tweets. And so what I did is I started taking the same amount of energy that I was using to work jobs, and I started putting it into my business. And that's it. It's the same energy. It just has a different amount of leverage. I just got 2 sales while I'm talking to you, Raphael. Let me see. In the past 10 minutes, I got 2 sales. 10 minutes at 10:30 at night, Raphael. Like, that's crazy. When you start looking at money like that, it'll change your whole mind. In 10 minutes, 2 sales. That's a whole day of work. You can go to work and make $30 an hour for 8 hours and make $200. And the crazy part about it is, statistically, most folks don't make $30 an hour, Raphael.
That's true.
They're not paying us that much money.
That's definitely over the median, at least for Black folk, anyway, for sure. Probably for everybody, actually.
Making money by exchanging time for money, exchanging time for hours is stupid. My only goal is to get more products and sell it. In fact, I got a bag downstairs from China. Hopefully it doesn't have coronavirus, of which I'm going to be creating my own kind of like bag line. So like, my only goal is get more product, period. Not work more hours. I'm over the working hours for money.